Well, this was an unexpectedly great episode. Welcome to my Pokemon Horizons review. So, I really expected this episode to just be like helping restore the forest, but honestly they end up getting that done like kind of in the first half of the episode, which to be fair I think is probably the weakest bit, and it is nice seeing everyone work together, and you know, we even get to see other members of Rising Volt Tacklers come in. You obviously have like Freed, Orla, and Ludlow arriving, and Ludlow delivers the hardest line when sending out his Quagsire. Like, oh my god, dude, calm down. So kind of as they finish, like, getting loads of, like, seeds and everything planted, Arboliva is able to, like, help out the forest. And yeah, it's, like, just kind of a nice moment. As they kind of finish, like, Leeko's pendant starts to react, and Arboliva, like, puts this ball of energy down, like, onto Liko and Roy. And, well, we kind of get to see something, like, in the distance. It's like they're having a vision, really. Oh, I also completely forgot to mention somehow that, the baby Terapagos thing comes out of the pendant again. Which is like, he didn't come out for Rayquaza, he came out for Arboliva. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of nice to see that again, because, I mean, more members of Rising Volt Tacklers get to see it, so we get to understand what's, well, get to, like, figure out there's something going on with that. And to be honest, the rest of this episode is a lore dump, but it's stuff I really enjoyed. So Freed's gone to this library and he's like kind of looking through books and everything, I guess trying to like figure more out about the ancient Pokeballs, when this woman, Luca, kind of approaches like him and asks about that. And this is actually Liko's mother, which, you know, is really cool to see her actually. I guess it also seems that Liko's mother like taught Freed at some point because she's a teacher. She like says things like, "Oh, I told you that, didn't I?" So yeah, it's like really interesting, but we kind of like go out, start discussing, they talk about what's happened. We also get Luca to kind of give some information, like the ancient adventurer Roy looks up to is called Lucius, and he made his way to Paradise with 6 heroes, which 6 Pokemon. And kind of like as they're having that discussion, we also cut to Liko and Roy kind of having a discussion about the book. As it turns out that Liko's dad actually had written a story about the ancient adventurer. And that story kind of involves him like travelling through every region, meeting strong Pokemon and forming bonds with them. And again, they found their way to Paradise, at the ends of the world. Which, I mean, all sounds really cool to me. To be honest, I'm like super looking forward to whatever the payoff of this arc is, because I think it's going to be incredible. Just the thought of like travelling across the world with Pokemon, oh, sounds great, man. But I really like this in a way because it also kind of feels like it intertwines Liko and Roy's stories. Because, obviously, like, we have Luca who knows the story. We've got Liko's dad, Alex, who's, like, written this story. And that's the one that, like, Roy specifically heard growing up. So yeah, it's really cool how it just intertwines, like, Liko and Roy together like that. We also figure out that one of the characters in the story is, like, Arboliva. And obviously there's a Black Rayquaza. So Roy's very intent on going to meet all of these. Freed also uses the opportunity to ask Luca about the pendant, because obviously like, a Pokemon came out of it, he wants to know what's up with that. But Luca just tells her that like she doesn't really know much about the pendant, so who's going to have to be asked about that is like Liko's grandma. Luca's Squawkabilly tells them that it's in the Galar region, so that's going to be the next direction if that's where Liko wants to go. Because Luca kind of suggests to Freed like, well, I can't really go and, like, see Liko because then my motherly instincts will take over. So you have to let her choose her own path. Later on that night, Liko decides she wants to go see her grandmother, but she doesn't know where her grandmother is because her grandmother travels the world. And of course, Freed knows it, and cute little detail, she doesn't say, like, "Oh, I met your mother who, like, her Pokemon told me your grandmother was in Galar." No, he just says, like, "Oh, your grandmother sent a Pokemon that knows where your grandmother is." I haven't probably done the best job at explaining why I like this episode a lot, but honestly, I think it does really great in just setting up what the next phase of Pokemon Horizons will be. You know, we kind of end on a note where, like, Roy's, like, basically got one of the Ancient Adventurer's Pokemon because the Arboliva went back into the Pokeball, and, like, they have the Pokeball on them. Like, I don't know, maybe it's, like, gonna be the equivalent of getting a badge, you know? You got Liko and Roy, like, kind of choosing their own futures by, well, having Liko wanting to go meet her grandmother, and that's going to be my next destination in the Galar region, which, oh, I'm so excited to see Galar again. I mean, it's cool getting into Paldea, but I just want to see Galar, man. So yeah, just all around, it was a really fun episode. But definitely a lot better than I expected. I think if we spent more time on, like, restoring the forest, I wouldn't have been as into it, but yeah, I think they struck a real great balance there between, well, finishing up the plot left from last episode and somehow expanding it in this one. Because we also find out that one of the explorers, Spinel, is still watching them, kind of getting an idea of what their capabilities are and, like, preparing to fight them. So yeah, I really want to see where that goes. Oh, also, I completely forgot to mention how much I love seeing Frida's, like, a worried dad. You know, after he, like, manages to get in contact with Liko and Roy, he's like, oh, thank God you're safe. And they're like, what? And he's like, don't worry about it. Like, oh, it's just so good to see. I love seeing how close they are already. Oh yeah, and I guess one little theory I have regarding the whole, like, Ancient Adventurers, Paradise, Ends of the World, whatever. I think that's going to be Area Zero and give us our equivalent of the Area Zero expedition. Because kind of in, like, the little picture book that Roy has, like, it looks like this whole, like, Paradise area is, like, gleaming, which could be, like, the crystals in Area Zero. I think that'd be sick. I just want to go to Area Zero so bad, man. I want to see how that's like in the anime.